Hi everyone, Fragga here, and today let's talk about Hacivat and its dupes. Alright, the batch that I have here, the Hacivat, it is actually 2020 batch, so it is almost like 5 years old. So the thing is, uh, and I have heard that the new batches are kind of reformulated, and it is kind of true. The new batches smell little bit different, and also the new batches doesn't perform that good. All right. So first of all, let's just talk about how this one smells. Right, the scent journey from the initial get go. I get kind of two or three notes like the pineapple, bergamot, that combination, that famous combination of Aventus. Uh, it has kind of that same type of you know opening. All right, that similar scent DNA, pineapple and bergamot combination, and it has really nice woody texture. All right, you will get that woody feeling, and but the thing is. One of the notes from the base that actually pops up very quickly, uh, even in the opening, for me actually, and that is oak moss, like that kind of seaweed, little bit mossy, you know, those kind of smell, little bit smoky. That smell that I get from the opening of Hachiva. So the opening is kind of a mixture between fruitiness and smokiness. Uh, Even though in the beginning I think that fruitiness is really prominent, but as it dries down, that smokiness really starts to shine, and it has a woody texture, like that cedar woody feeling and little bit patchouli feeling throughout the whole journey of the fragrance. Like from the opening to the end, you will sense that patchouli. So the thing is, uh, does any of the clones do this fragrance justice? Because the old batches, they are really monster. Like I used it on my clothes and it lasted for, on my clothing it lasted almost 2 days. All right, and the projection and sears is really monster, like 3 4 hours crazy projection. So so my question is, does any of the clone uh, you know actually do any justice to Hachiva? So thing is, the answer to the question is little bit complicated because there are bunch of clones, and I had three clones, but right now I have two, because one of the fragrances was taken from me. So the first thing that came out was Afnan Supremacy, not only intense. I got the bigger bottle, 150 ml. So the thing is, it is actually a really good fragrance, but it will remind you a lot of Sydenham, Arm of Clubbed in We Intense Man, the EDT, EDP perform, the whole same DNA. It will remind you of that. Why? Because it has a lot more fruitiness than Hachivat. All right, compared to Hachivat, I get a lot of fruitiness up top from this fragrance, and that is the main difference. All right, and even though it has oak moss and also ambergris, those kind of little bit smoky, little bit sea water like feeling, like little bit, how do I say it, ambergris kind of feels like, kind of a little bit a marine accord to my nose, but it does not feel like a marine fragrance. It is more a smoky and fruity fragrance, just like Hachivat, but it is more fruity. To my nose, it goes towards Aventus more. It is not a clear cut Hachivat dupe. So if you are someone who wants a hybrid of Hachivat and Aventus, I think this is a good fragrance. But if you are looking for an alternative to Hachivat, this is not the one. All right. Then recently, hawasblack was released. All right. So this is actually a lot closer to Hachivat. And even so, I would say the newer batches of Hachivat doesn't perform as good as hawasblack. So that is something to know, right? So how does this one smell? So upon initial spray, that smokiness actually comes right from the first spray. Even from Hacivat, I don't get the smokiness up top, but from hawasblack, that smokiness comes uh, very early on from the first spray, and it has a little bit, that pineapple smokiness, and also that pineapple bergamot combination, and also that really famous patchouli and woody combination that you get from Hacivat, you will also get from this. So this actually copies that scent DNA really well. But I don't think it is 100%. It is like 85 to 90%. Uh, like you can fool anyone wearing this. All right. Like if you wear it in the air, it is almost indistinguishable from Hachivat. All right. You won't be able to tell the difference in the air. But maybe up close in the skin, you can sense that okay, this has lot more ambergris, lot more oak mossy feel, and it does not have from the initial spray that smokiness, but the smokiness comes early on here too, but it is more smoky to my nose at least. So if you want a little bit smokier version of Hacivat, you can go for this, and the performance is also monster. By the way, Afnan Supremacy not only intense, this is also a really performance monster, like 10-12 hours, and the projection is almost 3 hours, and same thing for these two. Like in terms of performance, these two go neck and neck, but I still think the old batch of Hacivat is still outperforms these two. All right, it still outperforms hawasblack and Afnan Supremacy not only intense. So if the performance is your main concern, I would suggest you to go for the older batches of Hacivat if you can. All right, if you want to, if you can go for that. But the newer batches, I think these two are really good option. And there was another fragrance that was Ibrahim Al Quraishi's Cullinan Diamond Iris, and that is actually a really good clone. Like it has a perfect combination of, how do I say it? Perfect combination of smokiness and fruitiness, just like Hachivat. All right, it is not more smoky, it's not more fruity. It has a perfect balance. But the thing is that does not perform as monster or as beastly as these two. All right, so and I one of my you know one of the group members in the fragrance community, he kind of took it from me, so I just have these two. And so in terms of smell, I or more accurate clone, I would actually prefer hawasblack. So that's all, and I hope you had a kind of insight about Hachivat right now. Thank you.